Welcome to the Psalm Reading Devotional this week. It's really nice to be reading the Psalms with you all. Especially, it was nice to see you all in worship these past 2 weeks. Be present together to hear God's word preached and hear our music department sing his praises. What a blessing that has been. Today we're going to talk about Psalm 119, and I think I'd be amiss if I didn't start by thanking Ron. Ron gave me the longest chapter in the entire Bible to talk about and a strict time to talk about it within. So I got 7 minutes to talk about 176 verses. So here we go. We're going to read a couple verses and then we'll start our reflection on this psalm. Happy are those whose way is blameless, who walk in the law of the Lord. Happy are those who keep his decrees, who seek him with their whole heart, who also do no wrong, but walk in his ways. You have commanded your precepts to be kept diligently. Oh, that my ways may be steadfast in keeping your statutes. Then I shall not be put to shame, having my eyes fixed on all of your commandments. I will praise you with an upright heart when I learn your righteous ordinances. So, if you've read Psalm 119 already, you will notice that the entire psalm is about the law of God. In it, the psalmist writes about how happy and how lovely the law is, how he wants to keep it, and how those who keep it are upright and righteous, and just his desire and love for God's law. Now, I don't know about you, but on my first reading of this psalm these past couple weeks, the joy and the encouragement from the law of God is not what my heart felt. The word, I think, for me would be inadequate. I want to feel the way the psalmist feels about God's law, but often I don't. I'm reminded of growing up, and my sister and I had our bedrooms right next to each other, and there was a bathroom kind of in the middle out in the hallway. Well, my mom would write down these rules and have a piece of paper with all the rules, and it would be posted right there between our bedrooms on the hallway wall. Love and joy and encouragement wouldn't be the words I'd use as I walked by that piece of paper and looked at it every day. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. And that's not to say that we don't like doing good or we don't like doing those things, but I think as a child, my response to that law was not great. But that response has changed over time. Not being a child anymore, having children of my own, having grown up in the church, having grown up in my parents' household, I now look back at those laws and reflect on them with really good feelings, because I know that they have molded me. They have helped me to become a person who can be responsible, a person who can love others and has learned how to be guided. Those laws have guided me so that I can be a better person as I've grown up. And I think that's what God's law does for us as well. There's a few parts to how it works in our lives. And the first way is that God's law does reveal our sin. It does show us our inadequacies. It does show us those ways in which we've failed. But another thing that God's law does is it gives us guidance in how we are to live according to God's standards and according to the things that God has outlined for us, because he does know what is best for us. So I read all of Psalm 119. I was reading it, and 176 verses is a lot of verses. And it is from the beginning to the end of a reflection on God's law and its goodness. And I was struck by the very last verse of the psalm. The whole time the psalmist is talking, he is talking about how wonderful God's law is, how he loves his precepts, how he just wants to obey it, and over again, the wonderfulness of God's law. But then I got to the last verse, and it says this: I have gone astray like a lost sheep. Seek out your servant, for I do not forget your commandments. Now, a lot of the psalm I had trouble echoing with, but I can echo with that last verse. I have gone astray like a lost sheep. Seek out your servant. Now, when I think about God's law, I see the ways that I am inadequate. I see the ways that I can't live up to its standards. But I also see the benefits in that it lays out a way that I should live life. And the psalmist sees those things too. And then right at the end, I think we get a word of grace from him. Seek out your servant, for I have strayed like a lost sheep. And when Christ comes, he calls himself the Good Shepherd. He tells us the parable of the one sheep that was lost and how the shepherd would leave the other 99 and go and find that lost sheep. And my experience with God over and over again has been that when I stray, he comes and finds me. So I hope that that is encouraging to you. I hope that as you read those words and you see the different uses of the law and how even the psalmist at the end asks for God to come and find him, that you would feel God's grace, that you would know that God pursues you day after day, and that whenever we stray, he is right there with us. Enjoy your week. It'll be good to see you again on Sunday, and I hope you enjoy all the testimonies that are going on Testimony Tuesdays too. Let me pray. God, thanks. Thanks that day after day you seek us. That day after day when we stray, you come after us and love us with a love that is unquenchable. Thanks for pursuing us. It's in your name I pray.